and welcome back to a new lesson. Well, what do I have for you today? Very interesting, and I'm sure that you guys are going to really enjoy this and get something out of it. Well, we are going to look at essential tips for clear communication in English. Now, in the past, I've helped you with tips on how to learn English, how to speak English, how to listen carefully. But today, particularly, we are going to look at clear communication in English. Well, just before I start with this lesson, I request you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And also click on the bell icon for all the updated lessons. Now, generally, when you are a language learner, be it English, be it Spanish, be it any other new language that you are trying to learn, we all face a lot of problems, right? Now, even in English, of course, if you are a learner, you do face certain problems. Now, which are these English communication problems? Well, let's have a look. Now, firstly, not expressing clearly. A lot of my students or a lot of people that I come across, I do see that they are not able to express clearly. Whatever they try to say or whatever they are thinking, well, their thoughts are not clear to me. Well, because they do not communicate clearly, right? So this is one of the problems that a lot of people face. Let's have a look at another problem, which is the listener does not understand. Now, probably you think that you are communicating really well, but hey, is your listener able to understand? No. So that might be one of the problems. The other one is that the message is not clear enough. Now, probably you are putting in a lot of effort to explain, to say, or to mention your thoughts to the other person, but the message is not clear enough. Probably you're not using the right words or the right tone or the right rhythm, right? So this is one of the problems. And the last one is that the listener is not paying attention, which means you are having a conversation with the other person, but guess what? The listener is probably busy on the phone. The reason, because you are not communicating effectively. So these are the problems that a lot of English learners face. Now, this lesson is not about focusing on these problems. How to overcome these problems is what we are going to learn today. So here, I have these 3 golden rules of communication that I truly believe in, okay? Trust me, every time I am teaching or probably learning, these are the golden rules of communication that I have always kept in mind. Well, the first one is say what you mean. Don't just say it just because you have to. Just because you're learning to speak clearly and you just have to, come out with new words. No. Well, say what you really mean. Okay, so it's not just words. Say it what you mean. Ask questions to confirm if they understand. Don't just assume, okay? Don't just assume that your listener is able to understand you well. No, you need to ask questions to confirm if they are able to understand you. And the last one is listen. Like, really, guys, listen, okay? So don't just keep talking. The conversation is always a two-way thing. You need to listen carefully as well. So these are the 3 golden rules. Now, how to implement these rules is what I am going to teach you. I'm going to help you with 5 essential tips on communicating. So let's have a look at the very first one, which is just keep talking. Yes, that's the tip number 1. Just keep talking. I love talking. Like if you meet me in person, or probably you might have realized even watching my lessons, I love to talk. So just keep talking, which means that keep the conversation going. And how do you do that? Well, here are the things that you need to keep in mind. Know your filler phrases. There are times when you kind of get stuck in your conversation. What do? Do you just kind of stare at that person, or do you just go numb? No, you need to use your filler phrases. And which are these filler phrases for you to keep going with that conversation? Well, uh-huh. Now these are the filler words that you would use when you are kind of listening to someone. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this is how you continue with your conversation. You know what I mean? You're trying to kind of explain it further. To level with you means to be honest with you. Actually, what I mean to say is, or let me think about it. Okay? So these are the filler phrases that you can use in your conversation so that you continue to talk. But something really important that you need to keep in mind while using these filler phrases are that please don't overuse them. Now, there are times when people just keep on saying, actually, I went there, actually, he wasn't there. Okay, now this shows that you are getting nervous while conversing with the other person. So do not overuse these phrases, okay? So just keep that in mind. Let's have a look at another tip. Find a good speaking rhythm. Now, it's very important when you speak, your words or your sentences need a rhythm. So something that you need to keep in mind is avoid speaking too fast. A lot of people that I come across think that when they speak really fast, it means that they are really fluent. No, that's incorrect. Because when you speak too fast, you end up eating your words. Yes, you go on and on and on, and then you just kind of eat your words. Hence, you are not clear. The other person is not gonna able to understand you. So keep that in mind. Now, don't be too slow. Now, when you are conversing with someone and you go, hey, the other day, okay, that other person is definitely gonna lose interest in talking to you. So please don't be too slow in your conversation. Balance your speed well. So not too fast, not too slow, just balance your speed well. And practice saying sentences slowly and then faster. Okay, as a beginner, probably when you are practicing, practice it in a slow manner, and then eventually you'll get there. Eventually you will also speak like a native. Okay, so you will get that trick. And focus on intonation. Now, what does intonation really means? Well, it's the rise and fall of your voice or the way you sound, okay? So it's very important for you guys to have a speaking rhythm. The right intonation, not too fast, not too slow, just have the right balance when you speak. Now, let me quickly give you an example of what exactly intonation really means. Well, let's have a look at these couple of sentences that I have for you. Let's read this out. I didn't want you to run. Now here, I am focusing or stressing on the word I. I didn't want you to run. Now when I say this in this manner, what I really mean is, I don't mind if you don't run. Okay, so you get that? The next one, I didn't want you to run. Now here, I am stressing on the word you. So what does this really mean? Well, I would have preferred that someone else had run. Okay? So this is what really the meaning is when I stress on the word you. And let's have a look at another example out here. I didn't want you to run. Okay? Now what do I mean when I focus or I stress on the word run? Well, it really means that I asked you to walk and not run. Okay? So do you guys realize that how when we stress or focus on certain word, it completely changes the meaning of the sentence? So that's what you are gonna keep this in mind the next time you are conversing with someone in English. Now friends, let's have a look at the third tip that I have for you, which is make sure you are understood. Having a conversation with someone, isn't it important that the other person is able to understand you? Well, here are the things that you need to keep in mind. don't assume to be understood. Don't just assume that the other person is absolutely understanding whatever you're trying to say. So don't just assume that. Don't be shy to ask. It's okay. I mean, you don't have to get nervous or be shy to even ask that if the other person has understood you. So just go ahead and ask. Clarify anything that's not understood. So you think there's a doubt? Clarify it. Okay? And the last one, keep some phrases handy. Now that's what I do too when I am conversing with someone. You need to have certain phrases handy. Let's have a look at what kind of phrases that you can really use. Here, I want to make sure you got that. Okay, so basically you're checking whether the other person has really understood. So I want to make sure you got that. I hope you are getting me. Okay, when you are trying to explain something to someone, maybe at work, maybe to your friend, you ask that I hope you are getting me. The next one, I'm not sure if I said that right. Okay, you're kind of reconfirming. The next one, I would like to be sure I am expressing myself clearly. Especially when you are at work, you're with your colleague, you're discussing a project, you want to make sure that the other person is really understanding you. So these are lovely phrases that you can use at business as well. I hope we are on the same page. Okay, again, you're just checking whether the other person is understanding you well. And the last one is, if anything is unclear, just ask me. Okay? Now friends, let's move to the next tip that I have for you, which is ask clarifying questions, which means that if you are not able to understand the person who's talking to you, you need to clarify. And how do you do that? Ask questions if you don't understand. It's okay if you don't understand. Don't be shy. Go ahead, ask questions. The next one is don't carry partial information. Trust me, people, this is dangerous, okay? So do not carry very little information because then you are not going to be clear with what the other person actually mentioned. It avoids misunderstanding. That's what I mean when I say when you carry partial information, it might create differences, it might create misunderstanding. So it avoids misunderstanding. And the last one is that keep phrases handy. Of course, it's important for you to clarify using the right phrases. Now, which are these phrases? Well, here we go. I am afraid I didn't get that. Okay, so you want that person to repeat. So you can say that I'm afraid I didn't get that. Would you mind saying that again? Another one is, could you help me understand that better? There's a very formal way to ask that, hey, could you help me understand that better? I'm sorry, I must ask you to repeat. So again, you didn't get that. So you're asking that person really in a nice manner, in a very nice way that, hey, I'm sorry, I must ask you to repeat that. And then last one, sorry, I didn't catch that. All right, everyone, so let's have a look at the last tip for the day, which is watch your body language. Now, this is one of the most important tips because when you are speaking to someone, it's very important for you to watch your body language as well. So it's not just the words, it's not just the language, it's your body language as well. So keep your body language and speech in sync. So every time you're talking, make sure whenever you're using your hand movements, hand gestures, you use them correctly with your speech. The next one is avoid inappropriate hand gestures. Okay, do not use foul hand gestures. It's not just foul language, but there are these foul hand gestures as well, which you don't use in your communication. Fingers can speak too, yes. So there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. And do a baby pivot. Now, when I say do a baby pivot, which means that you need to face the person or turn towards the person that you are talking to. Something like this. Here. This is the way you can clearly communicate with the other person. So that's when we say that, hey, do the baby pivot means you turn to that person and talk to that person in a clear manner. Now, how this really helps? Let's have a look. Turn towards the person you're talking to, which I just mentioned. It indicates importance and attention, which means that you are giving importance to the person that you are conversing with. Avoid showing your back while speaking. Can you imagine me teaching you in this manner? You're not going to appreciate that, right? So you cannot show your back while speaking. Now avoid fidgeting, okay? A lot of people fidget too much. This is the way. Now this shows that you are very, very nervous. So let's have a look here. It indicates nervousness when you fidget too much with your fingers, with your hair. It shows that you're nervous. It shows that you want to be somewhere else. It just shows that you have no interest in this conversation and you are kind of interested in something else altogether. Take a deep breath and relax. Okay, that's also important. Just take a deep breath and relax when you are having a conversation. Try not to cross your arms or your legs. Okay, that's not a great body language. Why? Do you think this person is interesting? I don't really want to talk to him. Well, I'll tell you why. Because it indicates that you are not open to discussion. Okay? The next one is makes you look defensive. And never point your shoe sole towards the person while talking. It's quite disrespectful. Imagine someone is sitting in this manner and talking to you. Don't you think this is pretty disrespectful? Right? So don't do that. Let's quickly get a recap of this entire tips that I just helped you with. Keep talking, find a good rhythm, make sure you are understood, ask clarifying questions, and lastly, watch your body language, okay? So here are the 5 tips that I hope are really useful to you guys, and please use them so that you can communicate effectively. I will be back with a new lesson soon. Till then, you guys take care and stay safe.